Alright, so in the previous video we were talking about how to use different methods to search for joint venture partners. Now previously in the previous video we found two examples of joint venture partners. Now we could have gotten more joint venture partners, but to keep it short and to keep it simple we've only chosen two. So in this video we're going to talk about once you find them, then what next? What to do before you approach your joint venture partners. So the biggest key here is that before you approach your joint venture partners, you need to establish some sort of relationship. You need to do your research about them, who they are, their products that they're providing, whether they have any newsletters or things like that. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to Google and do a little bit of research about this joint venture partner. And because of that is when you approach them, you can use that information and compliment them about their products and things like that. Now remember, one of the products was called Turbulence Training, and it was written by a guy named Craig Ballantyne. So what we want to do is we want to go to Google and we want to do a little bit research about Craig Ballantyne. So if we go to Google and do a Google search, and we can see that he has a lot of reviews about his product, and he's a bodybuilding.com writer. So we can go here and we see that he has actually written a article. Now, some of these people will be big name people. And now, don't be afraid to approach these guys. What you want to do is you want to do research on them, just about 10 or so minutes, not too much, because it's possible that he'll say no, but it's possible he'll say yes. So, what you need to do is go down, read a little about him, scan the page, don't read word by word. But you notice he has other websites. He has a training newsletter, which in this case it is actually great because he has his email address here too. But you don't want to contact him right now. You'll actually want to go to his website where he has a training newsletter, and what you want to do is you want to sign up for that newsletter, because here's the reason why. You sign up for that newsletter, and what you do is when you send him a joint venture proposal, you can actually reply to that newsletter. And just go through here, look at his different programs, look at his testimonials, look at his profile. Just learn a few things about him. You don't need to learn everything. And lastly, of course, subscribe to the free newsletter. And I'm actually going to go ahead and subscribe. And once you're done with that, click on Submit. So now that we've signed up on this newsletter, we can begin receiving the newsletters to that email address. So that's actually what I'd highly recommend, is that if they do have a newsletter, sign up for it and be on that newsletter and stay on there for about a few weeks, and then after you get a few more emails, then respond to that certain email address, and from that point on you can approach them, because this actually is a great way of building a relationship. Just as me, if somebody signs up on my list and they say, hey, or I bought your product or this and that, I'm looking for help to promote a product, but then I'll look at the product and see whether it's actually great or not, and then I'll look at to see whether the product will actually benefit my list or not. So these are key points that you need to think about, because when you actually write that joint venture proposal, you need to use those specific things to build some sort of relationship, so that you're not seen as just some random person that contacts them out of nowhere. So the best recommendation is sign up on the newsletter, stay there for a few weeks, don't contact them right away, just do this method for a little bit. Now, the second product that we looked at was called The Top Secret Fat Loss Secret, and it was written by Dr. Suzanne. She seems to be a very, very well-known person in her industry now, and she's a big name person, and like I said earlier, it's okay to contact the big name people as long as your product is something that's unique. It's something that it can really help the people on her list. And when you know your unique selling proposition, then that's the best time to approach. So you notice up here that she has a contact us. And you can send in your email and things like that. And if it's possible to find some sort of email address that's not on this page, if you do other research, then that's great. But if you have to use this, and it looks like there's not a lot of space to write your email, so you want to make it short but sweet. So we'll actually talk about that in the future videos. So you want to do the same technique by going to Google, and you'll want to do a little bit research on her background, what she provides, possible products that she provides, and you can see that she's written several easingarticles.com articles. So that was written by somebody else, but you can possibly find out more information about her product, and as you can see, there are many reviews about her product here. So just by reading reviews and things like that, or comparisons, you can find a lot more information about the product to see whether it's a product that complements your product. Because you're not seeing this person as a competitor, you're seeing this person as somebody that could help you, and you could help them in the future. So once you've done a little bit of research on her, we can see if she has an actual newsletter. So here's actually the key method, is to sign up on the newsletter if it's possible. Now most of these people actually do have a newsletter, so actually in the middle of her webpage you can see there's a Get Our Free Newsletter here, and you can sign up with your name and your email address. And she's using Aweber, so I should have automatically received an email to that email address. So I would highly recommend, again, for the same situation, sign up for that newsletter, stay on it for a while, and then just keep using this method for about a few weeks until you get a large amount of newsletters that you've been able to look over, and that way you sort of build some sort of relationship with the writer. So you know how they tick, you know how they write, you know what they provide, and things like that. So it's not like you're just contacting them out of the blue. So let's do a quick review of the things that you need to do. So do some research on Google about the future joint venture partner, and secondly, see if they have a newsletter. And third, stay on that newsletter for a week or so to learn more about them and what they provide. And the purpose of this is to build a relationship or rapport with the newsletter writer. And again, do not feel scared about approaching the big guys. They might say no, but that's the worst that could happen. That's why I say spend only 10 minutes or less on each person. But approach the big guys and gals, and approach the small people too. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that even small people or medium-sized people generally have a stronger relationship with their list. So approaching the big guys may be great and all, but approaching the small guys and gals will be even better sometimes. And this could relate to whether you have an outstanding product that could be added, such as to a bonus to their product, or you could approach them to promote your product. So we're talking about two different joint ventures: co-ownership and promotional. Promotional is probably the biggest thing that you might be using, but sometimes that you can use co-ownership if they've already had an existing product and you want to provide some sort of bonus to their product and see if they'll take it or not. That's a great way to actually build a list of people that are targeted toward that niche. So in the next video, I'm going to talk about gathering info before writing the joint venture proposals, because gathering info about a joint venture partner is very important. So what we're doing basically throughout these videos is I'm using a method of gathering intel or gathering information about a certain joint venture partner for future purposes. And once we get all that information gathered, then we can actually write the joint venture proposal. And I'll tell you what to do and what not to do when you actually write your joint venture proposal. So let's go ahead and talk about gathering info before you start writing that joint venture proposal so that you can write it correctly.